Welcome to all our viewers. Welcome back to our regular NFO series, where we speak with the top management fund managers of the AMCs to understand the new fund that's coming into the market. We understand what are the fund features, its benefits, and the insights behind developing this fund to understand that how and why this fund is worth investing in. And today we will be discussing Samco Multi Asset Fund. Uh, we have with us Nirali Bhansali, who will be, walking us through the entire process of understanding this fund. Let me tell our viewers that the NFO period for this fund has opened on December 4th, 2024, and will continue to remain open until December 18th, 2024. Uh, to give you a brief background about Nirali ji, she is a BE MBA finance, pursuing CFA US certification at the final level. Has around 8 years of experience with more than 6 years of experience in the capital markets and investment research. She has a deep understanding of the fundamental analysis of the market and has enabled her to provide cutting edge to the conceptualization and developing Samco's flagship research and investment products. So welcome to the panel, ma'am. Very excited to have you here and good to speak to you today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So we will dive right into the Samco multi-asset fund that is we are discussing today. So the first question will be around the fund strategy and objectivity. The first is that how does this rotate strategy dynamically allocate assets among equity, gold, debt based on the market trends?
Sure. So, Samco's multi-asset strategy is very clear that we invest in three different asset classes: equity, gold, and debt. So now how it's going to rotate, basically what we do is we see where the trend is playing in a particular asset class. Now, for instance, if equity is trending, what we will do is we will take the maximum exposure to equity. If at some point in time debt is trending, or equity or basically gold are not doing well, that's when default debt exposure will increase, debt arbitrage, to almost 70%. And the third mode is called the gold mode, where, for instance, if gold is trending in the markets, as in the global markets, then what will happen is our allocation will go to gold to up to a maximum of 70%. So in that manner, we will be rotating between three different modes: the equity mode, the debt arbitrage mode, and the gold mode, depending on what is trending or what is doing better at a particular point in time. So this will all be very dynamic. It will be as per the market conditions, and we will keep rotating on a daily basis, as and when the signal comes or whatever, wherever the trend is playing. So we will ride that with the asset class.
Correct. So my next question is actually related to the identification of this. So, like, can you elaborate a little bit more on how the fund identifies and capitalizes on the uptrends as well as the downtrends in the asset classes that you mentioned?
Yes. So, what we do is, as I explained, we follow trends. Now, what is this rotate? So, rotate has some parameters which we use to identify trends in a particular asset class. So, there is relative strength, there is option trading, volatility, and wicks, averages. We take turnover volumes into account. We also see the trends, and lastly, we also see the equity earnings yield. So all of these together help us identify trends in one particular asset class, say equity, gold, or where we have to be present. Now, how do we identify how much weightage to give one particular asset class? So we again take price data of all these asset classes, put it through a lot of regression analysis. We do a lot of momentum and cross time series cross sectional indicators that we use. We also do angle, slope, and angle analysis, and then we get to a trend. So we get to identify that this, suppose equity is trending at this point in time, or gold is trending. So it is in this manner that we identify the trends, and then the mode or our exposure will move accordingly. Just to explain it a bit better, I'll just share my screen and show you something. So over here, this is a chart which is just very briefly telling you that when so the colored line is the equity line and the yellow line is the gold line. Now in
Yes.
this time period, as you see, equity is trending but gold is sideways. So here our maximum exposure would be to equity. Therefore, we would be in the equity mode. Now,
Correct.
what happened is immediately after gold started moving up and gold started trending and equity started correcting, so that's when we will shift our exposure to gold up
Correct.
to 70%. So this is where our gold mode will take place. And then again, now gold started moving sideways and equity started going up, so we'll increase our exposure to equity. So this is a very crude way in which we identify trends, and this is how it's performing. Even if you see,
Okay.
like, just a very short example, this is a post-COVID scenario where we identified a trend over here in July where the uptrend
Mm-hmm.
signal came in equities. It was
Yes.
at around 10,000 levels and it went all the way up to 18,000 levels. But over here,
Correct.
there was a brief consolidation. Over here,
Yeah.
majority of the people would have exited. But that's
Mm-hmm.
when we continued to ride this trend, and this enabled us to leverage on the entire benefit of the trend from 10,000 to 18,000. So we stick to the trend until it breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, there could be a change in the asset class
Correct. Correct.
exposure. So this is typically how we look at it.
Okay. Ma'am, when what do you mean by trend then? I mean, if you can give us an understanding of what is the AMC's or the fund management's understanding of a trend is.
Sure. So each asset class has four phases. There is an accumulation stage, there is an acceleration stage, then consolidation, and then there's a decline. So
Yes.
we typically look at the acceleration stage of an asset class, and
Mm-hmm.
that itself is the point where, at the beginning, where after the accumulation has ended, it gives us a
Mm-hmm.
signal that here now the trend has begun. So
Okay.
that's when we enter before the
Okay.
acceleration phase. So when the trend is in an uptrend, then we continue to ride the trend as I showed you over here. And here,
Correct.
when the trend breaks, that's when we exit. And as I
Okay.
already explained, those parameters that we have, we use all those parameters to identify this trend.
Correct. Ma'am, then is there a difference between this trend identification and momentum? Like, there's a word that goes a lot around in the market saying, the particular stock is in momentum or the particular sector is in momentum. Now,
Hmm.
this upward trend or the momentum, is there a difference between that identification or is it's almost the same?
I would say it's almost the same, because
Okay.
what is momentum? That something is moving, something is in an uptrend. So
Correct.
that
Correct.
is exactly the trend. The word trend is synonymous to momentum, I would say, uptrend. So
Correct.
we don't look at it differently. You can very well say that yes, there is momentum picking up or in that particular asset class, and that's why we are moving our
Correct.
exposure to that asset class. It's
Yeah.
as good as the same.
Correct. I just wanted to have this clarification because people then do get generally very confused between अरे ये trendy है या ये momentum है, then it's easier for them to understand it's actually the same thing.
Makes sense. Makes
So
sense.
then in this case, then another question that comes into the mind is that when it's in a trend, that means people are actually looking at it, and it has some valuation issue. So how does a fund look at the valuations aspect of this particular fund?
Sure. So, when it comes to equities, we look at the regular valuations parameters which are available to judge. Because equity is also a broad asset class. There are so many stocks available, over 3,000 stocks available over here. So then we judge them on the basis of valuation, on the basis of many other parameters, fundamentals,
Yeah.
technicals as well. And then we pick the stocks which are the most suitable from all these aspects into the portfolio.
Correct.
Coming to gold, yes, we do look at, when we are saying identification of a trend, doesn't mean that gold we don't look at the aspects of macros. So for
Mm-hmm.
gold, we look at the supply demand of the across the globe, because it's not that the prices of gold are determined by Indian investors only. So
Hmm.
we look at the supply demand outside also. We do
Correct.
take inventory costs, the inflation, and a lot of other macro factors into account before we identify, or we can surely say that there is a trend in gold going on.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
coming to debt arbitrage, yes, when both equity gold don't perform, debt 10% is mandated by the category. So that exposure we definitely need. Arbitrage is also something that we would want to do because if we have a gross 65% equity exposure in the fund, then it applies for equity taxation, which is also beneficial to an investor. And arbitrage also enables us to get good profits. So it's a decent strategy to play in the fund, and that also benefits an investor when equities or gold are not performing. So in this manner, we have individual analysis going on, and definitely valuation plays a very big part when we look at our models or our strategies, and we do take that into account.
Yeah. The next question, ma'am, is actually around the asset allocation that you briefly touched upon in this case. Is that what is the rationale behind the fixed allocation of 40% to equity, 10% to gold, and 10% to debt? And then how does this dynamic, the rest dynamic 60% component function in practice?
Yes, this is a very good question because I'm sure many people will have this doubt.
Yes. Yeah.
So, firstly, static component is something which is mandated for the category. So,
Okay.
mandate says that we'll keep 20% in equity, gold, silver, or commodities basically will have 10% exposure at all
Mhm.
times, and
Mhm.
debt will have 10%. So, this is basically something which will be very static at any point in time. So
Okay.
therefore, this 40% stays. Now, depending on the mode that we are in, the
Mhm.
dynamic exposure will increase because maximum we can go up to is 100%. So if
Correct.
equities are in an uptrend, we know that this 20% should go up to another 60%. So total will equity exposure will become 80% if
80%.
equity is uptrending. Now, if equity is not performing and gold is doing well, then what will happen is this 10% we will increase by 60%. So total gold exposure will go to 70%.
7%.
And debt arbitrage, when both equity and gold are not working, debt arbitrage could also go up to 60%. So this is the dynamic component, which means that whatever is trending in at a particular time, we will allocate our exposure to that particular asset class
Mhm.
up to maximum 60% from a dynamic perspective.
Okay, it's very interesting actually, to understand that how there's a static component, there's a dynamic component, and then the actual game or as actual, the management actually happens in the dynamic segment. And depending on how the uptrends or downtrends are going, then, you tend to switch as
Yes.
per the allocation. The next question then, ma'am, when it comes to gold, especially, gold, as they say, is a hedge against inflation and has been, our primary, source of wealth is what we are generally look at it. So, and it's also quite geopolitically influenced as well. So, how does fund intend to manage the exposure to gold, particularly during the time of inflation or during the times of geopolitical risks?
Hmm. So it is quite interesting because I'm sure everybody was be having this doubt in their mind, and volatility exists at, there are so many periods of volatility in the market, and at that point in time, a multi-asset allocation fund becomes necessary for any investor in the portfolio. Why
Correct.
do I say that? Is the multi-asset allocation approach gives an investor access to three different asset classes at a minimum. You can have more as well, but a minimum three. So basically, when something one is not performing, you allocate your exposure to the other asset class and benefit from this. And that's how it works. So just
Yes.
to give you an instance, now in the past 3 years there was a bull run, and just recently Trump was announced as the president of the United States, and there have been a lot of turmoil after that because the tariffs that he's planning to bring about, etc. So there have been a lot of economic or global geopolitical issues that are erupting at this point in time. So who's to say if at all equity is correct in the future? At that point in time, shifting your allocation to a gold, and if gold is trending at that point, will be extremely beneficial for an investor. And you don't really want the hassle of independently or individually looking at when to enter an asset class, or oh god, now I have to figure its taxation. So in a multi-asset approach, it is very seamless. Just to explain it better, I can show you one graph, which is
Sure.
this. Basically, as you said, during like a crisis, like there was global financial crisis over here at this point in time, and you can see the blue spike. Blue spike was the is the debt part. So at that point,
Yes.
our model showed us that debt exposure should go maximum to almost 70% that it can go to. So this is where we were, we would have, if multi-asset for us was running at that point in time, we would have been in a debt exposure, which would have helped an investor.
Correct.
During a bull market, yes, the green is part is the equity curve, which is showing. So yes, we would have
Sure.
had maximum equity. But gold, coming to gold, like global during COVID, what happened was
Yeah.
the yellow suddenly spiked for us. So which is showing that we would have immediately moved our exposure to gold almost 70%, and that would have helped us. So in this manner,
Correct.
we will rotate, and a gold or a silver or a commodity exposure would help us in a crisis.
Okay. So then the next question is actually around the risk management and the drawdowns. Is that how does the fund ensure limited drawdowns in the volatile market conditions,
Hmm.
and particularly during the equity market corrections? I think you did explain that, but I think we would like to have a little bit more word on it.
Sure. So, the because of our rotate or a dynamic approach between asset classes, it
Mm-hmm.
helps us to seamlessly move from one asset class to the other. So, when equities are
Correct.
not performing, as I showed you, we have the option to move to a different asset class, and that in itself protects us to some extent. We are not facing the drawdown of that asset class, so it helps us because for instance, now if equity corrects by 20-30%, and if gold is suppose at say 75,000 rupees, you enter at 75,000 rupees, you've cut your equity exposure, and gold moves to 78,000 rupees. So that entire 75 to 78,000 rupees ka difference ka profit is something that you can keep for yourself. So that is what we are aiming to do. Like if wherever there is a trend, you move to that trend. Don't face the drawdown of the existing asset class, and that
Mm-hmm.
helps you. And to
Okay.
just show you what our model has delivered, we have done a
Correct.
lot of back testing.
Mm-hmm.
This is our model's chart. So the blue line would be our rotate strategy, back tested. The green line would be if someone would have just held an equity portfolio or equity,
Okay.
and yellow is if someone would have just held gold. If you compare the three, you can see very clearly on a 3-year rolling return basis, the rotate strategy works beautifully because you are nowhere close to the 0% in terms of
Correct.
returns. You don't even give negative returns in suppose a particular event erupts. So from every perspective, on a return and on a risk profile, it is better. Coming to risk profile, why I say that is again the blue line is the drawdown, the max drawdown
Mm-hmm.
that the strategy can have. The
Mm-hmm.
yellow is if somebody would have just held gold, and green is if only equity. You can see that the equity and the gold drawdowns are huge, but the rotate strategy drawdown significantly stays in the 0 to 10% mark. So this
Yes.
is how, the rotate approach only helps to mitigate drawdowns, to protect an investor's portfolio in every sense. So the return risks both are managed efficiently when you rotate between asset classes and have a very, very dynamic approach to things.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we do have hedging tools in place. So all
Okay.
these factors together will help to mitigate risks.
Okay. Ma'am, the next question is around the taxation. Like, could you clarify the taxation structure for the fund across different modes, that is equity, gold, arbitrage?
Hmm. From the basic equity mode is that we will have more than 65% in equity. So at that point in time, equity taxation will apply, which is 20% short-term capital gain and 12.5% long-term capital gain. When it comes to debt arbitrage, we are going to be maximum in arbitrage. So it will still be classified as equity. So the same equity taxation will apply. So there will not be any debt taxation which we will have.
Okay.
Coming to the gold mode, when there is high commodity exposure or gold exposure, that's when short-term capital gain tax would be the slab rate of the investor, and long-term would be 12.5%. Now, 1 year or 2 years is debatable because the new budget was saying something. There's a lot of confusion in the industry. To be safe, a 2 year holding would be great. So anything redeemed after 2 years would be a long-term capital gain tax, which is 12.5%. So the taxation basically is very clear. Long-term capital will always be 12.5%. Short-term will depend on the equity or gold mode.
Okay. Okay. The last question is around the performance and benchmarking. The fund is actually benchmarked against a composite index, that is 65% Nifty 50 TRI, 20% CRISIL short-term bond fund index, and 10% domestic gold and 5% domestic silver. So how does the fund plan to outperform this benchmark in the long term?
Basically, Samco's multi-asset approach is very unique. Why do I say that? Is in the industry, what is happening is everyone, like most majority of the funds, are giving a very static exposure. So they have a 50 odd percent to equity, they have 20%, 25% to debt, and 15 to 10 to 15% to commodities. And this remains static irrespective of how the asset class is doing. So in the past 3 years or 1 year, if you see, gold and silver have outperformed equities or Nifty by a very, very large margin. And even then, the exposure of these funds was quite static. Commodity exposure was very static at 10, 15 or max 20%. What Samco's unique opportunity is that we are presenting or giving an investor the gold as a in a very dominant form, because we can take it up to 70%, which nobody else is doing in the category. So this is the most unique feature that we have. So Samco's investment strategy is built around this approach that we can take this 70%, and we feel that in the next few years, given that there is so much turmoil and economic crisis going on in different countries, there is going to be a point where equities might correct and gold might trend upwards. So this in itself would be a good opportunity for an investor to forget the hassle of timing when to invest in commodities and having all the stresses around that, and just get the same allocation through a multi-asset allocation fund. Another unique feature would be that we are quite dynamic, and it's a real-time rotation that we would be looking at. Usually, whenever this happens, the standard approach is, you do a monthly or a quarterly rebalance, but we would be doing it on a daily basis. As in, if something needs to be, some asset class needs to be cut, we will cut exposure and re-enter. So that way, we will be much more real-time, much more dynamic in our approach. So all of these factors make Samco's multi-asset very, very unique. Yes, from a return and a risk profile, as I've explained, it does better if you have a return, if you have a rotate strategy from a return perspective, and does better because drawdowns are much lesser. This is how we would look at our fund.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Giving us a very deep and insightful talk about this Samco as a multi-asset allocation fund. It's actually given the flavor of the market that has been going. I think multi-asset allocation is the right strategy to go ahead. Actually, so we wish you all the success, all the best for this fund. For this NFO. Hope it opens to a huge market response, huge oversubscription, and all the very best to you and your team, ma'am.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.